The maintenance bay of the Celestial Harbinger hummed with the usual cacophony of starship repairs. Robert wiped grease from his hands, watching his father work beneath the plasma conduits with practiced efficiency. At 19, Robert had spent most of his life aboard various vessels, learning the trade that had sustained their family for 3 generations. "Hand me the resonance calibrator," his father called out, voice muffled by the machinery. Robert reached for the tool just as the bay doors hissed open. Commander Saliha strode in, her uniform crisp despite the late hour. Behind her, 2 xenobiologists struggled with a containment unit that emitted soft, distressed chirping sounds. "We have a problem," Saliha announced, her dark eyes settling on Robert's father. "The Draconis hatchling won't sleep. It's been 48 hours. And according to the xenobiology team, sleep deprivation will kill it within another day." Robert's father emerged from beneath the conduits, frowning. "And you're telling a mechanic this because?" "Because," Saliha said, her voice tight with frustration. "We've exhausted every protocol. The hatchling was orphaned when raiders attacked its colony ship. We're transporting it to the Draconis sanctuary world. But if we can't get it to sleep—" A piercing wail cut through her words. The containment unit shook violently. "We've tried everything," one of the xenobiologists interjected. "Temperature adjustments, pheromone therapy, even telepathic lullabies from our Mindari counselor. Nothing works." Robert found himself drawn to the container. Through the transparent panel, he could see the creature, no larger than a house cat, with scales that shimmered between purple and gold. Its eyes, ancient and intelligent despite its infancy, were rimmed with exhaustion. "May I?" Robert asked, surprising himself. Saliha's eyebrows rose. "You have xenobiology training?" "No, ma'am, but—" Robert hesitated, remembering nights aboard cold transport ships, the loneliness of space, the ache of losing his mother to a reactor breach when he was young. "I know what it's like to be scared and alone." Something flickered in Saliha's expression. Understanding, perhaps, or desperation. She nodded. Robert approached the container slowly. The moment his hand touched the panel, the hatchling's wailing ceased. It pressed against the transparent surface, its snout touching where Robert's palm rested. "Remarkable," breathed one of the xenobiologists. "Its stress hormones are dropping rapidly." "Open it," Robert said quietly. "Absolutely not," the other xenobiologist protested. "Draconis hatchlings imprint quickly, but they're also extremely dangerous when distressed. Those claws can—" "Open it," Saliha commanded, her eyes fixed on the scene before her. The container unsealed with a soft hiss. The hatchling stumbled out, trembling with exhaustion. It ignored everyone else, making a beeline for Robert. Before anyone could react, it climbed up his leg, his torso, and settled against his chest, curling into a ball. Within seconds, it was asleep, tiny rumbles emanating from its throat. The bay fell silent except for the ambient hum of the ship. "This shouldn't be possible," whispered the xenobiologist. "Draconis are an ancient species. They evolved on high-gravity worlds with ammonia atmospheres. Humans are carbon-based bipeds from a backwater planet. There's no biological basis for this kind of bond." But Saliha was staring at Robert with an intensity that made him uncomfortable. "How long have you been in space, Robert?" "Since I was 5, ma'am. 14 years. "And your mother?" Robert's jaw tightened. "Reactor breach on the Morning Star. 7 years ago." Saliha's expression softened, but her mind was clearly racing. "The hatchling lost its entire colony, parents, siblings, everyone, to raiders 3 days ago. Robert, I don't think it chose you randomly." "What are you saying?" Robert's father interjected, protective instinct flaring. "Humans," Saliha began slowly, "have something most species don't. We've documented it, but never fully understood it. You call it empathy, but it's more than that. It's an ability to recognize pain across species boundaries, to project comfort even when there's no logical reason it should work. She gestured to the sleeping hatchling. Draconis are telepathic in infancy, not in thoughts, but in emotions. This creature is reading Robert on a level we can't detect with our instruments. It's not imprinting on him as a parent. It recognizes a kindred spirit, someone who understands loss, isolation, and survival. Robert looked down at the small creature. Its scales were warm against his skin, its breathing steady for the first time in days. "So what now?" he asked. Saliha exchanged glances with the xenobiologists. Standard protocol would be to sedate it for the remainder of the journey. But given what we've just witnessed, I'm hesitant to separate you two. The psychological trauma could be significant. You're saying my son has to babysit a dragon for 3 weeks? Robert's father's voice held equal parts disbelief and concern. I'm saying, Saliha replied carefully, that your son might have just saved an endangered species. Draconis adults remember their hatchling years with perfect clarity. When this one grows up, and they live for thousands of years, it will remember the human who gave it comfort when it had lost everything. She paused, then added, The Draconis Council governs 17 star systems and commands the respect of half the known galaxy. They're fiercely protective of their young and even more devoted to those who show them kindness. Robert's father rubbed his face. You're saying there are political implications. I'm saying, Saliha corrected, there are survival implications. For the hatchling first, but potentially for humanity's standing in the galactic community. We're still newcomers to interstellar politics. An alliance with the Draconis, even an informal one, changes everything. Robert barely heard the conversation. He was focused on the tiny heartbeat against his chest, the trust implicit in the creature's peaceful sleep. It had chosen him not because of his species or his status, but because somehow across the vast gulf of biology and evolution, they understood each other. I'll do it, Robert said quietly. Whatever it takes. Saliha smiled, and for the first time since entering the bay, she looked genuinely hopeful. I'll have quarters prepared adjacent to yours. The xenobiology team will brief you on feeding and care protocols. And Robert? She stepped closer, her voice dropping. Thank you. What you're doing, what humans seem uniquely capable of doing, it's why I believe your species will outlast us all. You turn loneliness into connection. You find family where there shouldn't be any. As she left with her team, Robert's father approached, placing a hand on his son's shoulder. Your mother would be proud, he said softly. Robert nodded, unable to speak past the lump in his throat. The hatchling stirred briefly, nuzzling deeper against him, and settled back into sleep. In the cold mechanics bay of a starship hurtling through the void, surrounded by alien machinery and powered by technologies his ancestors couldn't have imagined, Robert understood something profound. Humanity's greatest technology wasn't in their engines or weapons. It was in their capacity to care, fiercely, irrationally, across every boundary the universe could devise. And sometimes, that was enough to change everything. The end.